Hello everyone. My apologies I can't be there today with you. My name's Cary Adams. I'm the CEO of the UICC. I'm actually in Australia today, and I'd like to thank the Cancer Council Victoria team for helping me put this video together. I'm running around the world at the moment following the UN summit that took place in New York in 2 weeks' time. But more about that in a moment. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. We certainly live in exciting times in the cancer world. There's only been 2 health summits of the United Nations in the last 10 years, in fact since the end of the Second World War. So the first one was on HIV/AIDS in 2001, which had a dramatic impact on the way that the world and governments around the world addressed the issue of HIV/AIDS. And we were fortunate enough to be in New York 2 weeks ago to witness the signing of the political declaration on NCDs, non-communicable diseases, which of course includes cancer. So we are particularly at a point in time where the world of addressing cancer is changing, because for the first time we have engagement at the highest level of the United Nations, and we have a political declaration which I believe sets out a very broad agenda on what needs to be done to address NCDs, and more specifically cancer. Let me draw on some of the highlights of the event that took place in New York. Firstly, the 2-day or the day-and-a-half session was extended to nearly 2 days because there were so many member states around the world who wished to make a statement about their approach to NCDs and cancer and what they felt should be done in the future. This is extraordinary. Over 135 member states made statements, and we've captured all of that information, and we will be asking our members around the world, all 460 of them, to follow up with those statements. Importantly though, there was a general sense around the United Nations at the time that it was really time to address NCDs and cancer. And I was particularly impressed with the enthusiasm shown by NGOs, people from the academia world, private sector, and member states, government officials, that they really grasped that we have a growing epidemic around the world which needs to be addressed proactively and with some sort of collaboration, because it wasn't going to be solved on its own by certain governments or certain organisations. So I feel at the end of that UN summit we end up with a declaration which is good for NCDs, and specifically there are some clauses in there which give us hope that we can address some core issues around the world relating to cervical cancer, breast cancer and liver cancer, because screening and vaccinations were all mentioned within the main document. So what is our challenge now? Well, a guiding light for the whole of the UICC and its members has been the World Cancer Declaration, which, as many of you will be aware, is 11 targets that we said should be hit by 2020, including the fact that all countries should have national cancer control plans, they should have registries, they should have policies in place for addressing the risk factors, and also investment in research and healthcare. So on that step to 2020, I believe that we have a fantastic document to start off with. In the next 2 to 3 years, our focus will be on making sure that member states around the world fulfill the promise of that document, that we are able to put in targets and indicators working with the World Health Organization and the UN. And then thirdly, in the follow-up in 2014, we're able to show that we've really taken progress in addressing the issue of cancer and NCDs around the world. The next major milestone for me is 2015, when hopefully we will see the replacement of the current Millennium Development Goals with a set of goals which include cancer. Absent at the moment in the MDGs, and as a result of that, no, cancer does not get the profile it requires in overseas development aid going into low and middle income countries. So the agenda for the next few years is quite clear. Let's get great targets and indicators into that document that we signed off 2 weeks ago. Let's make sure the follow-up in 2014 is as good as it can be. And let's ensure that the MDG review in 2013 and the subsequent replacement of those MDGs in 2015 leads to a document or a set of objectives which includes cancer at its very heart. And then we can probably look forward to the next 5 years leading up to 2020 with a clear understanding of how we can hit the World Cancer Declaration targets. So we live in exciting times. Only the second UN summit to deal with the health issue, the hope that the MDGs will change and include cancer, and a realization around the world through governments, hopefully supported by members of UICC in each of those countries, to make a difference to cancer within their own borders. I think we can look back on the last few weeks as a significant change in the way that the world is going to deal with cancer. So may I offer to all of you my best regards for today and the conference and congresses you're at, and I would hope that you take with you some positive conclusions from the UN summit, and that we can now bring the world together across UICC and make the most of the document that we've been given by the UN. Thank you very much.